confident, courageous.
Anyway, you have to sit down and ask questions.
Welcome, my name is Obeng Darko. Welcome to Down to share with you the middle class. The middle class. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm amazed at what gets the middle class attention. The people we call the middle class. Usually, they are highly educated, and they are very much interested in getting degrees all the time. So, first degree, second degree, third degree, 20th degree, PhDs. That's what those of us who went to school. Most of us, they put us in that kind of category. But if you're an entrepreneur, you are not in any class. That one, I can tell you. You're not in the middle class, because your numbers are so much different. The middle class, a lot of the times, is on salary, and they are much interested. If you look at our country, they are much interested in what gets your attention is government position. They're much interested in political position, government position, things that they'll give them free car, free house, free housemaid. They share the money, and they want to look, they want to be recognized. And a lot of the times, their attention is on multinational job. You go to LinkedIn, you see like that, and they want to take holiday. They pride themselves in their houses and their cars. There's something that the middle class does not pay attention to. That is money and fame. They don't pay attention to getting traction, getting attention. Those of us who, I don't know, maybe it's the training, maybe it's the school. We don't. Most of us are just looking at the degree, the courses, so the kind of university that you went to. But when you really look at the reality in our country, look at people with fame and money. Look at them where a lot of the times. Apart from those that the government is taking care of, those who depend on the government, those who have been able to pick themselves out of nothing into prominence, the musicians, the sports people, the business people. These people followed the numbers, they followed the fame, they followed the money. They get traction. The only reason that the government or the president will look for you is because you are following. That's a matter of fact. Look, the other time Chatawali did something and the president responded. Why? Because the thing is that Chatawali has a number of people that follow him. And because he has following, the politicians will look for you. If you have following, the politicians will look for you. Look at people with numbers. I mean, church owners, church pastors. When they say something, the politicians will look for them. I was amazed to see that is what even the media pays attention to. The media will only be interested in you when you have following. If you have nobody, no matter how much, if nobody is following you, no matter the intelligence or the value of what you have, they don't care. What they care about is who is listening to you, who is following you. And so the middle class must pay attention to this. As a matter of fact, the moment you call yourself a middle class, it's difficult for you even to think that these things are important, because they're very much intelligent in what they know, and yet nobody pays attention to them. So pay attention to where the number is, where people are following, where the fame is, because that's where you get power. And the so-called middle class behaves like there is no importance in power. Power and wealth is critical if you want to have any influence in this life. And so I remember my cousin told me, once I have this level of income, I live for myself. I'm not interested in what other people say. That's what they told you. That's a wrong conditioning. Until you get trouble, until you get to a stage where you need something critical, money, to solve problems. And so the middle class has been deceived. Technically, most of them are struggling with money. I remember when we were in school, the professor was so much happy that he had funding from some organization. But I thought these guys were not interested in money. No, they are. They just don't know how. So don't condition yourself to believe that it's not important. It's important. The fame, if you have to have a way to if you have a product, if you have anything, if you have a message, without people, if you don't get the attention, and like me, it's very difficult for me to even ask for it because of the training. They train us, especially if you go to school, they train you to be very modest and not to look for anything, just be very conserved. And that has not helped us. That has not helped us. The people who push themselves, they become successful that quickly than those of us who are so much modest in our approach. Maybe it's good, maybe I don't know. But if you want to If you have any idea, if you have any business, don't just have this kind of middle class mindset where you are just interested in your degree, in your salary, and you're waiting for government to recognize you and give you some position. No, go for it. Go for the fame, go for the wealth, push yourself, do extra. Don't let anybody put any cap, any bracket on you. Push yourself from this middle class mindset. Push yourself from it. Don't just be interested in middle class. In other countries, when they say you're middle class, it means that they give you a certain amount of salary and you can access a certain number of credit for house and a car in a certain area that you live. So you're a doctor, you're an engineer, they put this kind of money, but you know you're not rich. You want to be rich, you want to go. Don't put yourself into anything. If you go for the millions, go for the numbers, push yourself. Don't let anybody classify you just because they gave you some level of education, because that's what they really have done to the educated. They have made them modest. So you go into... The other day, I was shocked that just a politician somewhere can write a letter and just, somebody, a professional who has gone to school for years can easily be made redundant just because somebody who went through the political side can just tell you that stay somewhere. So what prevents you from with the degree going into the politics, going to where the power is, going to where the numbers are? What makes you think that with your engineering you can't drop it and start a music career? Why can't you be a rapper? Why can't you be a footballer? Why can't you go for the fame? Why? They have trained us, those of us who go through school, they have trained us to be modest, to be sober. And in our country is a problem. So the people with this, without any degree, you go to LinkedIn, you'll be shocked. All that we write about there, I got a new position, I got a new career. No. Why don't you start the business yourself? Why don't you start the organization yourself? Why don't you build something that can also give opportunities to people? What makes you think that all that you can do is to just get a job, a nice career? No, I'm not looking down upon that, but I'm challenging that thinking. They have made us to be so much risk averse and so much comfortable. The educated, the middle class, there's a way they think, and they're always waiting for somebody to hand it to them. No, fight for it. There's something about ownership. There's something about the numbers. Fight for it. They will criticize you, they will laugh at you, but go for it. I remember when I started Facebook live program, my friends would laugh at me. So what are you doing there? Don't you have any other thing that you're doing? But out of that, somebody saw it and introduced me into radio programs. Without that, nobody will know what I know. A lot of people who are benefiting from what I'm building on YouTube now, let's say the number that we have now, if you get to 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, a million, so many people will benefit from the resources that we share here. But if I'd listened to my friends in educated middle class, I would never even put myself anywhere for anybody to hear. That is the risk that we all have to take, because there's a defined path for the people who have gone to school. Just be conservative. Just be happy with the little salary that they give you. Be happy with the position that they have given you. Don't try anything. No, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an engineer, I'm an author, I'm a teacher, I speak. You don't have to agree. Just say what you have, because there's something in you that goes beyond what the school gave you. And don't let anybody put you in any middle class anywhere. There's no limit to the money that you can have. There's no limit to the fame that you can acquire. Don't let anybody tag you to say that, oh, you are a very decent doctor. No, don't just be a doctor. If there is a gift in you that can help mankind, don't let the doctor that you are restrict you. If something that you know that can help people, don't let the engineer or the education or the professor that you are stop you. What stops you from getting into politics and becoming the president of our country? What stops you from starting that business that you want to start? What stops you from writing that book? What stops you from becoming a millionaire? What stops you from becoming famous? What stops you from, maybe you're a singer, maybe you're an actor. What stops you from that? Just because you're a given degree? No. The only thing that gets your attention is when somebody gets a degree, another degree, a PhD, or a job offer somewhere. That's a description that they have given the middle class. But I am not in any class anywhere. Nobody plays any limit to what I can achieve in terms of numbers, in terms of finances, in terms of what I can do. Don't let anybody tell you that because you're an engineer, you can be a business person. Who told you? You can be an entrepreneur. So who else can be? Don't let anybody limit you as a human being. And that is what they have put on the middle class. So they go for degrees. They really don't go for productivity. They go for degrees. They go for job offer. They are very much predictable. This is what I can do. They, they are looking for multinational job. They are looking for the mining companies, the telecommunication companies. They go there, they become manager somewhere. They become chief finance something somewhere. They don't want much. They live for only their wives and their children, their husbands. That's always there. That's all that they talk about. No. We need that class to move from there so that Africa can develop. Challenge the status quo. Fight, push. It's so difficult for you to even share anything with the educated in Africa because they've been conditioned in a particular way and they're very conservative. They don't challenge anything. And that's why sometimes foreigners will come and take the baton. But we need to push our people, the engineers, the doctors, the accountants, the lawyers. Push them out of your comfort zone. Don't just be happy with your Land Cruiser. Don't just be happy with your little office. There is so much resource, so much in Africa that we can take. Just the consciousness. So break loose for yourself from this kind of thinking. There's nothing preventing you from becoming wealthy, rich. Don't just be happy with this little salary. Said salary increment. No, don't just be happy with that. There's more you can do to change destinies. A friend of ours said that, is anybody's destiny linked to me? Yes. People's destinies are linked to you. If you fail, so many people will fail. But if you do well, so many will do it. Break loose from this thinking that I'm educated, I have just job, government should give me some offer somewhere, and I cannot start anything on my own. I cannot become a millionaire. I cannot become famous. I cannot become wealthy. So somebody said that the best way to get attention to yourself is to become famous, become rich, or maybe when you die. So the educated, the middle class, the people we call middle class, we've been conditioned to be, to adapt the white lifestyle. So we become so much self-focused, self-centered. It's about my family and myself, and once you separate yourself from the culture, there's not much you can do. And so that, you become so much conservative. And even your dressing, your food, everything starts to move. And a lot of them have also gone to school outside the culture, outside the country, or even those who schooled here, the content also is a disadvantage. And so go for the fame, take the risk. And a lot of the times too, even our religion also takes a lot from us as well. So the educated there's a lot of work that we have to do. The educated, the people we call the middle class, there's a lot of work that they have to do. And if the moment you're able to handle that, then you see that the skill set from the education, the skill set from the ability to read, to write, to do the mathematics to higher level, the professional exposure, then becomes beneficial to the culture, then becomes beneficial to the country. Somebody said that some other places, the middle class is pushing their countries to develop. But in Africa, the middle class is rather sinking our countries to develop, the educated. And I think that we have to change that. We have to really handle that. So what should fascinate us should not be people getting jobs and people getting more degrees. It should not be people getting multinational jobs or people getting government positions or people traveling and going to Dubai. That should not be it. What we should be so much interested in is taking the wealth of our land and turning them into something beneficial to our people. Setting up processing plants and manufacturing plants. Making sure that we are the ones blocking foreigners from extorting and taking advantage of our country. We should be the ones. We should not be the ones standing up to say that corrupt leadership, and we do nothing about it. And when we want to give birth, we travel to America, to England. And then we leave the masses of our people down. And we sit in our Land Cruisers, we sit in our big cars, we live in our nice areas, we put all the security things on, and we try to protect ourselves from the pain of our people. The educated middle class, there's a lot of wrong thinking that we have to change. If you're in any class if you're in your class group, WhatsApp or things like that, look at how many of us don't even come together to do something that will change the destinies of others. There's some people who send you all kind of things, but it's just about religion and sports and jokes. But productive things, we hardly will agree on it because of the conditioning, because of our thought pattern. And we think we are special, and we have become very much individualistic. And if an educated person pays attention to anything that you're doing, they pay attention to criticize you, not to promote you. Market anywhere. They pay attention, especially the African ones. They pay attention to look for the loopholes, to look for the the bad things that you're saying, the unintelligent things that you're saying. They will never, even if they pick from you, they'll be very silent to share the things that they have learned from you. They will not ask a question to say that, so what do you mean by this? No. They try to come and tell you what they think you should put in it, what they think you should add, what what they think you should have said. They hardly will come down to acknowledge the impact that you are making, especially those that they have even learned from you, those that they didn't know. No, they will hardly. I have friends like that. They will hardly appreciate you in presence of others because of the individualistic nature of the education and the competitive nature of the kind of education that we had, And so when it's somewhere, you will not promote the others. When it's somewhere, you will not. They still think that they are writing exam. They still think that they are session, they're giving them position A or B, C or, they still thinking that you had 90% and I have 30%. That is a wrong thinking. So the educated middle class, they especially those in Africa, we need to set up. I am not in the middle class, I'm an entrepreneur, so there's no limit. And just use the school that you have to go and solve problems and change destinies. So don't be so much, you should be able to come down to any level to start something. And don't be entitled in your thinking, that government should be the one taking care of you. And that's why, if you look, most people, what we call success is when government has given one of us position. When somebody gets a government position, you see how people will hate confident, courageous.
Anyway, you have to sit down and ask questions and look for